Your radio is currently tuned in to Nova Southeastern's Mako Radio, broadcasting on WKPK 88.5 FM Sunrise. Welcome to episode 2 of Inside the Tank, presented by Quarterdeck. I'm your host, Josh Raphael. Let's recap this past week in Shark Athletics. Men's golf had their opener at Grand Oaks. Men's and women's soccer took on Palm Beach Atlantic, and volleyball took on Tampa and Florida Southern. Let's kick things off tonight with our first guest, head volleyball coach Kacie Ehinger, and women's volleyball player Madison Cook. How are you guys doing tonight?
Great. How are you?
Good. So we're going to kick it off with you, Kacie. Kind of just talk to me a little bit about your coaching journey. You know, how did Kacie get to NSU?
Yeah, so I started off, I obviously played volleyball in college, and I was fortunate enough in college to be able to coach a high school team because in Michigan back then, the high school season was in the winter. So I was able to play my fall season and then go be on a coaching staff in the winter and coach the high school age, and then I coached club after that. I actually also coached softball in the high school level. And then I also,
that's interesting.
Yeah, so when I was in college, my brother-in-law was the head baseball coach at the college I went to, and I worked in his office and got to do all the recruiting letters and things like that for him, databases and things like that. So I got to see the office side of coaching too.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it really quickly. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I actually changed my major to phys ed. I think I went through 4 majors in college, but ended up as a health, physical education, and recreation. I felt like that was a good coaching avenue, and then went on and got a master's degree in education, which I was a GA for a college volleyball team at that point. And once I graduated with that master's, I knew that that was something I wanted to do. At that point, I had worked for the same style of coach a lot of the years. They were 2 best friends that, my coach in college, and then the guy I went and worked for as a GA, very similar style. So I knew I wanted to hone my craft a little bit as an assistant. So I spent a good chunk of my time as an assistant at the Division I level. I've been at an NAIA school. I've been now being here with it being D2. This was my first D2 job. I like to joke that I've been at every level now except for the JUCO level. So I don't hopefully plan on doing that at any time. But so I've just kind of been a little bit all over the place. I've been to, I started off, I'm from Michigan. I was a GA in Ohio. I then moved to New York, moved to Texas, moved back to Ohio, and then found myself down here. Florida was kind of always the end game for me. I want to be here for life. I have a lot of family in Florida, so love the weather. The last winter in Cleveland was brutal.
Yeah, I know you don't miss that.
Yeah. I owned a house, and the amount of snow we got every Monday, my back, I kept a chiropractor in business.
Oh, man.
Yep.
And Madison, obviously, you've been here for 5 years. This is your last season here at NSU. Kind of talk to me a little bit about your journey, coming from being a little freshman to now, you're in your 5th year. Kind of talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've definitely had a crazy journey, I would say. So when I first was about to commit to Nova, the coach called me the night before my signing day and said that she was no longer going to be the coach at Nova. So that was kind of, a huge moment in my life of kind of, okay, well, what are the next steps going to be? And so, I signed with Nova, and I think that just made, my decision was for the school, for the program, and not for the coach. And it was a great decision. I mean, here I am now with these amazing people. And so, my journey has just been crazy. I've had, played through COVID. I had to leave college early. I had to play a whole season without playing a single game. And I think that, going through all of this has just made myself resilient and the people around me. And I think that I've progressed as a person, as a player through all of this, and I've just met so many amazing people. I had my old coach, and I've met Kacie, and she's brought in so many different dynamics into this team, and I think that it's just been a great experience that I wouldn't trade for the world, and, I'm excited to see what's next.
Yeah, and like I alluded to earlier, this is your last season as an NSU Shark. What are some of your goals for this season that you want to accomplish?
I think I just want to have so much fun with this team. We just bring in so much character from everyone, and it's just so fun to be around. Every game is different. Everyone's just a lot of fun. Everyone brings so much love. Everyone brings in so much effort, and it's just it makes every single day fun. And I think that seeing the progression throughout this season is what's most important, I think, and that's just kind of something as a team we've talked about, is progressing every single day, and that's what we do in the gym. And I just want to have fun with these girls before I leave. I mean, being a Nova, like my last year as a Nova volleyball player is just crazy to think about, because never did I think it would come this soon, and it did. It came so fast. And so it's just crazy that, I'm saying like, oh, last time I'll play Barry at home, last time I'll play Barry away, and it's just crazy to be saying those words.
Yeah, and Kacie, you're going into your second season as a head coach at NSU. I'm not sure if you've had conversations with your team, but, I mean, what's the mentality going into this year?
Yeah, our big thing is, we want to make some waves. We want to, the SSC is really, really tough. Every night is a battle. You don't see a whole lot of 3-set matches, a lot of 4 sets, a lot of 5 sets. There's no night off. There's no one opponent that you can mark on your calendar and be like, okay, we can, that's a win. We're automatically winning that match. That does not happen in this conference, and I think that's really, really fun. And we talk about, hey, we've got to go in every single day and work really, really hard, and we've got to prepare ourselves for every opponent, right? We've got to be dialed in on what we're doing as far as scouting reports, and the day before in practice, we've got to be really, really crisp in what we're doing, and that's kind of the message is, hey, we're gonna go have fun like Madison wants to, but we got to go to work, because everybody's gonna give you their best shot in the SSC.
Yeah, and obviously you've had several new additions to your team this year. Kind of talk to me a little about them. Nadia Linder, I mean, she's been playing phenomenal. So, yeah, just talk to me a little bit about those, transfers or newcomers and kind of the impact they've had on your team this season thus far.
Yeah, so Nadia that you talked about, grad transfer from Lynn. We're really lucky to have her. I think right now she's sitting second in the conference in kills per set, points per set. We know that with Nadia, we can give her a ball and she's going to put it away pretty much, most of the time. She's a 2-time All-American. She's been a first-team All-SSC kid, so we were really excited to have that addition, added to Kate on the outside, having like a 1-2 punch. So she goes to the back row. We got Kate coming in the front row. Taylor's already up there. At any given point, we have 3 former All-Americans on our roster, on our floor, with the addition of Price coming back this year after, being out most of last year. We actually are in a unique situation where she's still coming back a little bit from that injury last year, so we actually have her in the libero jersey right now. She's probably the tallest libero in the conference. We got a 6-foot libero out there, so she's taking up a lot of space, but she's one of those kids that's going to run through a wall for you, right? And I think that a lot of our kids feed off of that energy. There was a play, I think we put it on our Instagram earlier this year, where she's chasing a ball all the way to the back wall, and we end up getting a kill and winning the rally, and it was a really cool moment. But those happen all the time when she's on the floor, because she makes the people around her better. And like, she's not a new addition to our program, right? She's been here for 3 years. She's a junior, but technically a senior, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's, coming back into the fold after taking, most of the last year off with that injury. Brittany Landrum, again, not a new addition. She's in her 5th year. But last year was out with an injury. We actually get her back for 2 more years, so that's exciting for us. But adding those 2 back into the fold with what we had returning with Madison setting everybody. Madison's a great setter of the week last week. She does a great job of spreading the ball around, and adding Nadia to Taylor and Kate, and having Britt in the middle and Liv in the middle and Maddie in the middle. We have a lot of firepower options. So it's really cool to see how spread out we can be, and we can score from a lot of different positions. And then we have a couple freshmen that have got some significant playing time. Varshini Paniganti has played some libero for us for most of the beginning of the year. She's kind of moved into that DS role in the last week or so, but making a lot of great moves. I said to Matt in the Barry match, the National Player of the Year from last year is out there just ripping balls at her, and she's standing in and digging and digging. And I think it was like really close in the 4th set, and she stands in and digs a ball, and I was like, that kid just made the dig of her life. And we end up winning that match, and I think that she does some really, really good stuff for us. Ella Kern has come in at times and made some really good passing moves for us. So we do have a lot of young talent that is coming up in the program, behind a lot of good firepower that's, that older group. So.
And what's, I see you guys post this on social media. I don't want to say, I don't know if it's hard hat or what is that? I'm curious what that is.
Yeah, so in the summer, we did it last summer when I first got here. I had them read this book by John Gordon. It's called The Hard Hat, 21 Ways to be a Good Teammate. And then we have the freshmen read it when they show up. So it is all voted on every week, the hard hat, every week by the team. So we have like a Google form, and it lists the 21 ways to be a good teammate. And they click, who they want they think that it is the good teammate of the week. They click the attributes that they think that they displayed, and then they tell me a little story about it.
Yeah.
So the person with the most votes gets it. But I think it's really cool because it's them driven, right? It's not me picking who I think is the best player of the week, and it's not necessarily outcome based either. It is how are you being a good teammate, which drives our culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being a good teammate, it may not always be the person who got the most kills in a week or, got the most blocks or service aces in that week.
Yeah.
It's somebody who is doing good stuff for our culture.
Yep. And Madison, I heard that you're a nursing major as well, so I know that schedule must be very rigorous, and I believe that sometimes you have to come right before the game because of clinicals, etc. So kind of talk to me how you're balancing, your nursing program and being a college athlete.
Yeah. So it's definitely hard. I mean, you're right. Like the clinicals, I mean, there was been 2 weekends where I've shown up literally right before the game starts. And it's crazy, but I just think like I'm going to do the best I can to be everywhere I need to be when I can be there at the right time. And so, it's been hard to be giving 100% to both things, but I'm doing the best I can to do that because, I want to be able to give, the team all of me, and I want to be able to give all of me to this profession that, I love. And so, it has been difficult, but I think I've been managing it pretty well. And I wish that, I didn't have to miss games for clinicals, which it really does suck having to watch the team, on my phone as I'm leaving clinical. But, I mean, that's what it is right now, and hopefully my schedule will change this next half of the season. So we're crossing our fingers for that. But, we'll get through whatever we have to get through.
Yeah. So what are, your plans for after, NSU volleyball?
Yeah. So my plans for after, I'm going to go back to Orlando and, work in that area. I've had some interviews. I love to be an ER nurse, so that's what the outlook looks like for right now.
Yeah.
But, I'm really excited for the future and, to see what's to come. Yeah.
And Kacie, kind of just to wrap this up, kind of what's a message that you want to have for your team? Just, as we're in the heart of SSC play, and you want to make a postseason push, kind of what's the message?
Yeah, I think just to stay the course and be us. We get into trouble a little times when we try to go outside of what we do. When we have a ton of potential, but potential doesn't always, amount to things. We've got to put in the work.
Yeah.
So we got to come to work every day and get after it and give everybody our best shot. We got to show up ready to play as soon as the lights and the scoreboard come on and push everybody every day. And we can take every single match and every single point as a learning opportunity as well, right? We dropped 2 this past week. We're learning from that. We learned what, we needed to work on for this week, and we're going to learn every time we step on that floor.
Yeah. Well, Kacie, Madison, thank you guys for coming on. Thank you, Quarter Deck. We will be back shortly with interim head women's soccer coach Amy Vaughan and women's soccer player Bella Ramirez. Welcome to Inside the Tank. I'm here with interim head women's soccer coach Amy Vaughan and women's soccer player Bella Ramirez. How are you guys doing today?
Doing amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
You guys have been on fire this season. I mean, it's an understatement with how good that you guys have been doing. Amy, I'll start with you. Kind of what do you attribute, your team's early season success to?
I think the biggest thing that I would say is what we've done over the past years. I don't think it's anything necessarily to do with, like a short-term success that we're having right now, but I think it's just been built over the last 3 or 4 years since James took over. We're starting to see now the characteristics of the team that we want out there, the type of people that we want, and kind of what we want the game to look like. We know the SSC is incredibly tough and a competitive conference. So I think we've just got used to it over the last few years, and I would say the success of the team has been coming for 3 or 4 years, and it's been a building block each year. So it's nice to see what the girls have been doing this year, and it's all coming out on the field now. So we're really, really happy with where they're at right now, and hopefully we can just keep pushing them and moving them in the right direction towards the mid to the end of the season.
Yeah. And obviously your success, is being recognized. You guys are ranked 18th in the United Soccer Coaches Poll. That's big, especially coming into the season not ranked. And this is a question for both of you. What does it mean to you to finally be able to get that recognition to be ranked 18th?
I'll let you go, Bella.
It's great, but honestly, it means nothing to us. We just want more at this point. I think that just makes us want more.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, right? Like, there's only 25 teams that get recognized, so honestly, it's an honor. There's obviously thousands of schools
Right.
out there, but like Bella said, we just want to continue. It's a bonus to be ranked, but if we continue to do the right things, then hopefully, the recognition will be more and more. But they know that if they don't continue to do the right things,
Yeah.
then those rankings don't come out and they're not in our favor. So
Yeah.
it's really important to us that we stay true to our identity and our core values and what we do every single day on the field and off the field to make sure that those recognitions and those rankings go in our favor.
Yeah.
It's definitely a motivation.
No,
for sure.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And how do you keep your team level-headed during times like this? Obviously, you see a lot of teams, they get ranked and, kind of goes over their head. But how in this moment, I mean, your teams just still stays the same, like they stay even keel. Like, how do you keep your team so level-headed in moments like this?
We've got an incredible group of players. I think the two we were talking about this the other day, that like our characteristics within the team, they're incredibly competitive. I mean, even like we were laughing and joking before, like the finishing drill that we do before, like this,
Yeah.
it is so competitive. But on the flip side of that, we've got the majority of the players are so selfless, and it's so rare to find those two qualities within a team. And when you put those two characteristics together, like I want Bella to do amazing, but Bella also wants her teammate to be amazing,
Yeah.
even if that teammate is doing slightly better than her at that moment.
Yeah.
And it's a hard mix of characteristics to have. But if you've got them together, it creates this incredible environment that we've got right now within the squad. So I think level-headedness is not something that they're thinking about necessarily. They're just trying to compete with each other.
Yeah.
And get the best out of each other every day, which is amazing as a coach to see, honestly.
Yeah. And Bella, I mean, you're returning, so obviously you've been able to see a team last year that honestly was pretty good also. You guys made the NCAA tournament, and now you're on this team this year. I mean, what would you say is the biggest difference between last year and this year's team?
I think the biggest difference is our connection off the field. It really, really does make an impact on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm an upperclassman now, but with the younger girls, like the upper class, we have each other's backs, and I think it's a more genuine friendship relationship. So it really does impact us on the field as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest difference to me. I feel like everyone is my friend on my team. I love everyone. But that's also, it's not just me. It's everyone on the team. We have a great relationship this year.
I honestly think Bella is like the perfect example of this.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect question for her because, she came in as a freshman off an incredibly talented high school team going to, state and national finals.
Yeah.
And then she's come into an environment that's very different.
Yeah.
And you see like the progression of Bella over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
The way that she is in practice now and how she approaches practice, rest days, how she treats her teammates.
Yeah.
She's in the office asking questions. She's watching video.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have seen that Bella 2 years ago.
You wouldn't have. You really wouldn't have. I was a different player.
And now you see this person that's grown on and off the field.
Yeah.
And you just look at her and you're just like, this is a part of the environment that's the best part of our environment.
Yeah.
It's just about growth.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing to see what Bella's done, and she's getting the rewards for it this season.
Yeah.
Which you can see, in how she plays on the field,
Yeah.
but also how she treats her teammates off the field, and she's helping everyone. And she is an incredible example of what we want as a student athlete on our team.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about your team's like perseverance. And I mean, you guys haven't given up a goal in, I mean, I don't even know how many games, like 5 games. You guys have been on a roll, especially defensively. Shout out to the defense. But in the couple, maybe 2 games that you've had close games, and I think that is a true test of a really good team. And you guys have, came on top in a majority of those games, if not all of them. So talk about your team's perseverance in close games.
I think this team's faced quite a lot of adversity, especially in pre-season and going, into Alabama. That really pushed us, I think, and it gave us different challenges. So I think this team is very used to, facing problems and solving them. So I think, when we come up against teams, and obviously within the SSC, each team will give you a different issue to solve.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've got players on the team that are so process oriented that they're looking at problems just like that. And it's not we don't really have a super I would say a super emotional team.
Yeah.
We have a very process oriented team, a
Yeah.
task oriented team. So they're asking questions
Left
like,
and
how
right.
do I fix
Yeah.
this? What do I do here if this
Yeah.
goes here?
I mean, even when you guys aren't even in the room, sometimes we meet by ourselves as a team. We
Yeah.
ask each other sometimes, like, what can we do? How do we fix this? What do we need to do? And then, of course, we have our coaches there too sometimes. But sometimes outside of the coaches, we ask ourselves, what do we need to do to be better?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I think you talk about like perseverance and things like that, I think it's just within the team that they're very together
Yeah.
and they like to be together and problem solve together. So I think when they do face, they do it together.
Yeah.
And so we concede a goal together, we score a goal together, and
Yeah.
you'll see that reaction on the field.
100%. Is there a specific game this year that you felt like your team really showed their resilience?
Yeah, there's one that stands out. When we went to Alabama, we
Gotcha.
played Huntsville.
Okay.
And the game was an interesting game because the first half was an individual battle.
Yeah.
It was, we scored and then we were like, yay, and then they scored.
Yeah.
And it was 2-1 and then 2-2, and at half time, we said to them, like, you can't continue to do this.
Yeah.
If you continue to do this, you will not survive in the SSC.
Yeah.
And I think at that moment they decided, okay,
We're going to play.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to play together. We're going to put everyone's egos aside.
Yeah.
Everyone's amazing in this, and everyone brings something different, and everyone's value, they bring something to the table.
Yeah.
And we're going to accept that, and we're going to be a team, and we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
And I think you're now seeing, we're midway. We're talking, 5 games into the conference.
Yeah.
But you're seeing that from the girls.
And Bella, I heard you're pretty known on social media. I don't want to get the stats wrong. I heard you got about 600K on TikTok, about over 100,000 on Instagram. So obviously, I imagine that takes a lot of time to build up something like that. And obviously, like, you're a college athlete, like, and to allude to what Amy said, you watch film, like, you do all the extra things. How do you balance that? How do you balance being, TikTok famous and a college athlete?
I get this question a lot.
Yeah.
People from school, outside of school. I try to do things for myself sometimes.
Yeah.
I try to focus a lot on my mental health. So
Yeah.
if I'm not doing any school, soccer, or content creating, I am taking time for myself.
Yeah.
It could be reading a book, watching a movie. It could be 30 minutes a day, seriously.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm doing something for myself, putting myself first, that's all that matters. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I balance it right now.
Yeah.
It's been tricky. I've been doing content for I think this is my 3rd year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm learning as I go.
Yeah.
But it's been a busy, hectic process, but I'm very, very grateful.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with everything. Yeah.
How'd you get into it? Was it just I'm just gonna pick up the phone and just start, making content, or?
It was about 2 years ago, and it was around COVID time.
Yeah.
And I was very bored.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was getting into makeup and skincare, and I
Yep.
just decided to post randomly. I didn't really do it for anything.
You did for you.
And that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
It just progressed from there.
No, that's great. That's great. And kind of to wrap this up, Amy, looking forward, how do you plan, to sustain this high level of play, amongst your team? I know it's hard, day in, day out. Like you said, the SSC is a gauntlet. So, what is the message that you're going to give to your team to try to keep this play up?
I think, honestly, it's about consistency and accountability. I think as long as the coaching staff are consistent, we do the same things, we believe in the same things, we adjust every now and again, and then being accountable for what we do every day.
Yeah.
I think if we work as hard as what we've been working, I think we always give ourselves a chance.
Yep.
And if we do that and we set the example and we encourage the girls to be brave,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's their experience.
Yep.
We want to win absolutely everything we possibly can.
Yep.
Even the finishing drills in practice.
Yeah.
I want to win it. I join in and I want to win it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's an experience for them, and it has to be an incredible one.
Yeah.
And so I think if we're consistent and we hold ourselves accountable for
Yeah.
that every single day, I think we will always give ourselves a chance to give ourselves a good run
Yeah.
towards the end of the season.
Right.
Yeah. And you mentioned those little games that you guys do at practice. You know, we see them all the time, and I know we talked about team chemistry earlier. And like you said, I mean, that builds a lot of team chemistry. I mean, how did that start? Did it just one day just randomly just start doing it, or was this something that you guys really thought of doing for a while?
We've been doing them, but I think over the years it got
Yeah.
way more competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I would say that's the greatest
Yeah.
part of being a part of this team.
Yeah.
Is we had a day off yesterday and I hated it.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm missing my girls. Like, I wanna go and
Yeah.
have fun with them. And even in the warm-ups, we're just dying laughing all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Like, we're just having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so rare to get 30 people on the
Yep.
same page.
Yeah.
So I think when you talk about team chemistry, it's easy to say, yes, in pre-season we talked a lot about our identity and value and really what minutes really mean. They don't really mean much, which sounds crazy.
Yeah.
But there's 11 people that can play at a time, and we have 30 people on the team. You're just going to be so disappointed if
Yeah.
minutes are what you value yourself. So every day we try and have an incredible time, and we try and learn something every day.
Yep.
And that's kind of like the basics of what we do every day.
Yeah.
And I want to try and make this as fun and as energetic and as positive as possible,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day we've got a short season.
Yeah.
And I only have so much time with Bella.
Yeah.
And I want to get to know her.
Yeah.
And I want to enjoy every moment
Yeah.
with her. So that's what we try and do every day.
Well, Amy, Bella, appreciate you guys coming on. We will take a brief intermission. Thank you again to Quarter Deck for allowing us to host our episode here. Up next, we have head men's soccer coach Matt Watts and men's soccer player Zion Andrade. We'll be back soon. And we're back here at Quarter Deck with our final guest, head men's soccer coach Matt Watts and men's soccer player Zion Andrade. How are you guys doing?
Great. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank
Love
you.
that. Love that. Obviously, Matt, I mean, as you enter your seventh season as a head coach here at NSU, I mean, kind of talk to me a little bit about what the mentality was coming into this season.
I think the mentality is always the same, right? The mentality is that we want to win. We want to win championships.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's just a mentality of men's soccer. I think it's the mentality of the athletic department, right? We've proven it over the last 2 years. With regional championships, with SSC championships, with national championships, with runner-up championships, runner-up in the NCAA championships. So our aim is to always be there or thereabouts with that. That being said, though, it's very underestimated, I think, the power of the SSC.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Zion will touch upon that in a little bit because, he's coming from Marquette and
Yep.
he can talk about that. And I don't mean to put words in his mouth. He can be honest about it. But the SSC in terms of men's soccer is a powerhouse.
Yep.
It really is. It's I think you've got 6 or 7 teams in there that can make a run at a national championship.
Yep.
And on top of that, I think you've got you only got 6 teams that can go to a conference tournament. So last year PBA missed out. They were a great team and could have won games in the national tournament. So like I said, our aim is to win championships. But it's not easy,
Yep.
right? It's really not easy, and I think we all have to understand that. And when you have championship seasons, they need to be celebrated because it is got so much respect for those people that have done it at the highest level.
And Zion, I mean, like you said, this is your first year as a Shark. Kind of talk to me a little bit about how you've adapted so far and just how your first year is going.
I mean, it's going amazing. Down in Florida, very similar to
Can't
back
argue
home.
that.
So I've been enjoying. The group is amazing.
Yeah.
The school is unbelievable. I did a lot of research before I came, obviously, but I was surprised with the infrastructure, with the people here.
Yep.
The weather is what I expected. So I'm having a great time. I'm enjoying it. Again, it's very similar to home. So it's just my natural habitat, and I'm having a great time.
Yeah, and Coach mentioned that you played at Marquette, in the Big East, big school. What would you say is the biggest difference, between playing in Marquette and playing here, aside from the weather?
Yeah, I would go back to just being the weather and the vibes down here in Florida. Because in terms of quality, in terms of the program itself, I think it's very similar.
Yep.
And I've talked to Gaffer about this. I think the difference between D1 and D2 is in the small details, maybe financially, maybe just how much people invest in it. But other than that, from what I've seen, and maybe it's the SSC, it's very good. The level is very good. Players have played all around the world. Players have played for really big clubs. The people within the team and the people that I've met outside the team that came to talk to me after games and stuff, people have been to very good environments to play, and that translates into the game. And so I don't think the difference is any. It's not any major difference. The level is very similar. The infrastructure is similar. The school is amazing. And so again, I think the only difference is the weather, and that's a positive one.
Yeah. And Matt, your team has faced quite a few injuries this season. I mean, how do you keep your team motivated and focused during those small setbacks?
Injuries happen. This year has been particularly tough, right? I don't think we've experienced one like this in my 7 years.
Yeah.
And it seems like when we get one back, we'll lose another two, and then we'll get two back, and we'll lose like another one. And so we haven't started the same team, I don't think, twice in the season so far. How do they stay motivated? I mean, you've got to stay motivated, right, to be a student athlete. And again, we go back to that championship point. Like these guys, we've recruited them, bought them here to NSU to win. So motivation is, when they get their opportunity to play, is to come in and to do their job for the team. But ultimately, the motivation, I think, is intrinsic within them, right? They have to motivate themselves, to want to win games, to want to win championships, and to prove that they've come here for a reason. So I don't think that the motivation needs to come from the coaches as such. I think the motivation just generally comes from the team, from the players, from the athletic department in general. Yeah,
100%. And you touched on, your Final Four run, which was, remarkable. And looking back at that, won SSCs, etc. What do you think it takes to get back there?
As sad, as silly as it sounds, I think a little bit of luck.
Yeah,
you need luck. We also. There were a lot of things that went for us that, well for us that year. It was a case of, obviously, COVID had just finished. We had a whole year with the team to prep. Our whole team came across from all over the world, apart from a couple of guys to train. But ultimately, the way that Division II National Championship is set up, obviously it's regionalised, right?
Yep.
Only one team gets out of that.
Yep.
That year in 2021, we were the team to get out. And as soon as we got out of it, we felt as if we had a chance to win the national championship. We felt that we'd got out of the hardest part, which was getting out of the Sunshine State Conference and getting out of the region. So what does it take to get back there? I think you need a little bit of luck. You need depth. Within the squad, again, that COVID year gave us an opportunity, a unique opportunity with scholarships to, to maybe bridge the gap and have some guys that maybe only had 6 months remaining in their degree. To bridge that gap between some of the other teams that may be better in that regard than us. So we were really deep that year. And so if we did have an injury, which again we didn't have much that year, we were able to replace that, and we were able to stay fresh throughout the year. It's got nothing to do with the mentality of the boys. The mentality of the boys, very, for me, very similar. They want to win. In 2021, I don't recognise the team was any different in terms of the mentality. This team this year want to win exactly the same. I think the biggest differences are those things that we mentioned. I think we have a lot of talent on this team. And unfortunately, the ball just hasn't seemed to have rolled our way so far this year. But we've still got plenty to play for, and we just keep reminding the guys of that throughout the season so far. And the message right now is every game is a cup final. We need to win 5 out of 5, basically, is what we set the goal. And to get into conference tournament. When we get in the conference tournament, then we start again. But it ultimately starts with getting guys back from injuries. And I think hopefully with this week that we have off now, hopefully we can do that. But I know it sounds like a little bit of an excuse. It's not. The boys are plenty good enough to win these games. So we've got every belief in them. I told them that yesterday. The boys should have a lot of belief in what they're doing. But ultimately as well, we've got 16 new guys on the team this year.
Yeah.
So we're fortunate and unfortunate enough, we start on August 14th. Our first game is 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
To get 16 guys going in the same direction is pretty tough.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just need that continuity as well. So we'll see how the next couple of weeks go. But like I say, I've got loads of belief in the lads.
100%. And Zion, I mean, you kind of touched on a little bit about the differences between Marquette and down here. Now let's talk a little bit about playing styles. Obviously, I'm sure. Or I'm not sure, but I'm not sure how the playing styles are in Marquette and down here. But what would you say helped you adapt most to the playing style at NSU?
Yeah, I think talking to Geffer before I came,
Yep.
Understanding what their vision was like and what my playing style was like.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I prioritize when I'm playing the game is to have. It's a cultural thing as well, but just to have the ball. We're a very possession-based team. We really like to have the ball. We have our best games when we have quality on the ball, when we have the most of the ball. So talking to Geffer before I came, understanding how they wanted to play, and just kind of touching base on how I wanted to play as well, and that ended up matching, and that's one of the main reasons why I came. So there was not much on adapting to a playing style, but just adapting to the small details on how we want to press, how we want to play, and those were very natural and very smooth.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was much of a difference, and I think obviously the decision making before I came was very towards that type of thinking as well.
And what are some of your goals for this season?
First, the team goals. I think what Gaffer said. I feel like every athlete wants to be at the most successful team at the end of the season. So our goal is to lift the trophy. We're in a position right now where we had to focus on the goals that are ahead of us. So winning these next 5 games, getting to the tournament, then we go from there. But obviously the main goal is to get at the end of the season and lift the trophy. And again, we have the quality to do so.
Yeah.
We have the mindset to do so. It's just about getting the timing right, getting the small details adjusted, and then I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah.
And individually, since I was a kid, I've been dreaming about playing pro. And I talked to Geffer before I came as well. That would be my main goal until I can't do that anymore. Until there's a 100% limitation on it.
Yep.
So yeah, I've been working hard for it my whole life, and I hope that at the end of the season, the team performs, that I keep performing, and then that things just work out for me.
Yeah.
I'll be very happy to be playing afterwards.
Yeah.
Obviously, the U.S. gives you this amazing opportunity to have the opportunity to try that, but still have a plan B, and that's also one of the main reasons why I came to the U.S. And so just having that mentality to keep going and keep trying and hope for the best at the end of the season.
Yeah, and kind of to wrap it up, Matt, I mean, we're here to learn more about you, not just as a coach, but as a person as well. Kind of walk us through a little bit, just your journey. How did Matt Watts get to Nova Southeastern University? Kind of just walk us through that a little bit.
I think the main word here is probably just a little bit of luck. You're real fortunate, right? I was fortunate to gain a head coaching position when I was 24 years old.
Yeah.
And again, like everywhere I've been with the last couple of programs I've been at, we were able to win and maintain success over a couple of years. And of course, when that happens, then you hope that you're able to. My goal as a coach, and ultimately I think was my end goal at that time. One day I wanted to coach in the SSC.
Yeah.
I played in the SSC. I played for Lynn University. We were very good at that time, and I knew the quality that was in the SSC.
Yeah.
Of course, listen, living in Florida is amazing, right? So I love that part, but on the other side of it, I think it's just a case of I want to compete against the best. I want to coach against the best. So, my journey's been, one of a lot of hard work and graft, a lot of sacrifice to, I think to get to this point.
Yep.
I was 29 years old when I took over the program here at NSU, and again, it was just one of those contacts, right? Julie Lemaire, the head softball coach, coached my ex, and and then she put in a good word for me. And then all of a sudden I was living with Julie for like 2 months when I first got the job down here. So it's
Shout
been
out
a pretty
Julie.
yeah, that's right. Julie's absolutely, Julie and Jesse absolutely helped me out.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a long road in terms of getting here, but ultimately, one that I'm really grateful for.
Yeah.
I get to wake up and coach in sunshine at great facilities and coach great players like Zion. And he has, we've had a lot of opportunities in the last few years to move players onto the pro level, and Zai has that opportunity. I think he'll have that opportunity to do that as well. So my journey's been long but a great one. So really, really, really enjoying my time here. At
Head
Nova.
coach at 24.
Yeah, that's
no.
big.
I had
I didn't know that.
I had I think I had 3 players on the team older than me at that point in time. They were like, "Shut up, coach! I ain't listening."
Was that hard to be able to rally the team? Because think about it. You're 24, and you're around their age. So is it hard for them to know? Okay, this is my coach. I have to listen.
No,
to
it's
him.
more hard probably just to avoid them in the bars. I think we're hanging out in the same areas. But I think you gain respect if you. I think I know what I'm talking about for the most part. So you gain that respect obviously through the times that you played as a player. But anyone can suss out someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about. So as soon as the players have one session with a coach, they're like, oh, maybe this person's good or this person's not so great, and they make their decision off of that. So I've never had an issue in terms of motivating any of the players or getting them all on board with what we're trying to do. At the end of the day, coach, player, it's a fine line, especially in college. But I think we have like myself, Matt, G, Q. I think we have really good relationships with our players, and so I think they all feel comfortable enough to to come talk to us and come do those things. So that part's never been an issue, but it certainly was interesting through the first couple of years.
I imagine.
Almost being a student and also being the head coach at the same time, basically.
I imagine. Well, thank you, Matt.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Zion, for coming on. Thank you for all our fans for tuning in. Thank you, Quarterdeck. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back on the 1st of next month. Inside the Tank, signing out.